My name is Ken Light, and I am a social documentary photographer, and I'm on the faculty of the Graduate School of Journalism at Berkeley. It was very interesting revisiting this book, 50 years from when this work was done, and also just think about the fact that the university was willing to actually hire a photographer to do this, which I don't know that they would do today. I mean, I don't know that anyone would even have the imagination that it's so important for us to record. So in 50 years, people might look back at this moment in our history as a university. The photograph I selected is a photograph titled Freeways, Los Angeles. And again, it feels very different than anything Ansel would photograph, because he's really not known as a photographer of kind of the urban. He's really known as a landscape photographer of the wilderness, and that's really where he made his name, and that's really the main work that we know. I know he did a lot of commercial work, and he may have seen this more as a commercial assignment. It would be interesting to explore how did he feel about this assignment? Was it just an assignment that he needed so he could get in his station wagon and drive out to Yosemite and spend a week doing storm clearing? Or was there a certain passion he found in doing this? Because there's definitely, in looking at the pictures, a mix of kind of Ansel Adams pictures and pictures that are atypical of Ansel. I like this picture a lot. I like the lines, the aerial view. And I guess for me, the picture also then talks about the young California, the golden California, the California with the dreams and the hopes, which is, I think, what they're portraying in this book, the future of California, and how the University of California system is really tied into that hope. I think one of my favorite pictures was this theater arts picture taken in Irvine. It's just romantic. There's just a romance in this photograph of a group of students kind of in the fog, in the mist, with the trees and the sun. You barely can see the sun. It's kind of poking out through the light. And the idea that theater arts could be outside, right, and not in the classroom. I guess, in a way, this image talks about education and the transmission of culture that one wants to think should be happening at a university, that it's not dry, that it's not rote. When you look at that picture, you don't think of the university. But yet it is a university, and it maybe is the unseen part of the university. And I think one of the interesting parts of this book is, in fact, there are no classrooms. There are no people sitting on the old wooden desks taking notes, and the teacher up front. It's more about the life of the university beyond the classroom. As a photographer, I was really fascinated by the notes in the back of the book. The notes both on photography, that even Ansel would talk about it, and also the colophon information, which is the information about the book itself. It was fascinating really to look at all the technical information. This is a Hasselblad. This would have been the camera that Ansel would have used on a lot of the photographs with the viewfinder, and then it would have been put on a tripod, most likely. It shoots medium format square negative film. So if you look in the book, you'll notice a lot of the pictures are square because that is the actual film size. And then he used 5x7 Cinar. You're using a large camera on a tripod, and your film is going to be in a film holder. And so there's a slide. You do this in the darkroom. A sheet goes on each side. You put in the slides. And this fits in the back. You take the view camera, you get under the black cloth, you focus upside down. The image is upside down on the glass plate. You focus it, you cock the shutter, you put the film in, you pull out one of these slides, you take your shot, you put the slide back in, you pull it out, you refocus, you flip it over, you put it in again, and pull it out. So you're talking about having, this is just 4 pictures. So you're talking about a big camera, a big case, lots of film slides. Each one has to be developed individually. So it is the digital generation can't even imagine what the process is of doing these pictures and really thinking about it. Can you imagine doing a grab shot, having to put this in, I mean, you couldn't. It was a very deliberate, slow process, and it was a thoughtful process. So he's really one of the things Ansel is very famous for is pre-visualization. So he's really looking at a scene and kind of pre-visualizing what that is going to look like on the film and then eventually as a print, and how it fits into this body of work he's trying to create about the story of the university. I mean, he would shoot it, he would develop the film, most likely make contact sheets or images, and then he'd have to print. So, all the images you're seeing in the book are made from prints. No, I mean, this is 50 years ago. The process of the first edition of the book is a photogravure from plates with block varnish. The beautiful tonality, I mean, the kind of tonality and crispness you're getting from the image. I mean, today it's kind of common, but in 50 years ago it wasn't, and Ansel was one of the people that was really responsible for the advanced reproduction of photography, because he really felt photographs should be reproduced as you see them as silver prints. And there's a certain punch and contrast that you get on photographic paper that you couldn't get in reproduction in publications. And so there's a varnish that is part of the printing process that gets put over the image that kind of gives it a little bit of a punch and sparkle to the book, which is, the book is really beautifully reproduced. The type, I mean, this is unbelievable to me. The type is University of California Old Style, designed by Frederick Gowdy, who's an incredible, important typographer. I mean, this type called the Gowdy, which was hand-set type. Now, of course, it's all in the computer. And that the university would commission him to create type. Obviously, this book and this work was a deep, deep commitment of the university to really create an important object. That this object, it's not simply a PR brochure, but it's really an object with a lot of love put into it by the people who supported it, the administrators who came up with the idea. Very old school, but very, very thrilling that this could have happened within the university. So it would be wonderful for the university to think about hiring, 5 great photographers. I mean, it's hard to believe one photographer could do the whole system. When you look at where he traveled and what he did, I mean, from airplanes and the breadth of the state and out to the desert and the observatories, it had to be a really big budget. It would be fascinating to go back and see what they paid for it.
$75,000.
Yeah, which was probably a huge amount of money 50 years ago. So it was a big investment, and I'm sure for Ansel it was a very important commission to do. And unlike some of his other commercial work he did, probably a lot of fun. Can you imagine today if someone said they were going to pay a photographer $75,000? I mean, if you go back 50 years, what is that in today's dollars, right? I don't know, but let's say it's 150,000 or 200. I can just see someone saying that we're going to hire so-and-so to do this. I can just hear everyone squawking. Are you crazy? But I think those documents are important. And I think that sometimes in the moment, we're not smart enough to realize it, and the opportunity passes us by. I think it really takes wise thinkers to kind of realize the possibility. I mean, here we have this book, and now 50 years later, we're still looking at it and talking about it and wondering about it and what was it like. But there's this, really amazing record of where we were, and you hope that the next anniversary there will be some wise thinker who thinks, yes, we should somehow celebrate it in the arts. I think that students, they're always doing photography now, whether they have a digital camera or they have a phone, and anywhere you go, people on campus, you see them photographing a moment to put on their Facebook page or send to their friends, or all the different ways that people are using photography. One of the things for the younger generation is that it's become more democratic, and that democracy is really important, that people can enjoy it and love it, but it's much, much easier to do now. I mean, you can just simply, reach out and pick it up and point it and record your life and record your moment. If we think about 50 years from now, we hope that all these pictures that young people are taking of their experience in college will be somewhere on the web. Whether Facebook will be around, who knows? But those images are important. They tell us important stories of who we are and what our experience is about.